So tell me if you've ever experienced this moment before. You walk into a place, you go up to the counter or up to somebody and you ask where something is, and they realize that you're visually impaired or blind because, well, you've got a cane or a guide dog, or maybe you're wearing dark sunglasses, or maybe they just realize because you tell them, but they all of a sudden say the phrase, "Oh, I'm sorry." And you're like, "What?" And they're so sorry because you're visually impaired. Has that ever happened to you? What's up, VIPs? Derek here, back with another video, and this has happened to me on numerous occasions. People in my house, out of my house, at restaurants and places and friends and strangers and everybody, they get that phrase in their mind of, "I'm sorry." And the reason that they say this is because they're feeling, most of the time I would say, they're feeling empathy, they just don't know how to express it. And all of a sudden it comes out with, "I'm sorry." So I wanted to kind of address that and maybe give you an idea of how to deal with that when somebody gives you the phrase, "I'm sorry." By the way, if you're new around here, my name is Derek and I help people just like you to discover life after sight loss. Here you'll find product reviews, life advice, encouragement, how-tos, and so much more. So I'd love for you to consider subscribing to the channel and turning on notifications so that you don't miss another single video. Now, if you've ever experienced this "I'm sorry" moment, you know what it feels like. It feels like it's pity and they feel bad for you and woe is you, you poor blind person. I can't believe your life must suck, and all that sort of thing. And you get all those feelings, and sometimes you feel bad about yourself and for yourself. Sometimes you get angry and you just want to kick them in the face, whatever the case is. But I think we have to take a step back and first realize why somebody's saying the phrase "I'm sorry." Like I said, they're probably feeling something inside. Empathy, sympathy, feeling bad for you, whatever it is. They're feeling something and it's coming out in the expression "I'm sorry." And they just don't know how to, what do I say? They're probably thinking life really sucks if you're blind. And sometimes life really does suck when you're blind. However, life really sucks sometimes when you're sighted as well, but that's a whole nother video, right? So when they say "I'm sorry," it's probably coming from a place of true compassion, and they're trying to vent it and they're not sure how to do it. So here's a couple of things to remember. First of all, the phrase "I'm sorry" typically means you did something wrong. If you tell somebody you're sorry, it's because you did something bad or you hurt their feelings or whatever. So when somebody says "I'm sorry," I typically say, "Hey, don't worry, it's not your fault." They're like, right, they kind of snicker and I laugh, and then we typically move on to something else because I'm like, whatever, I'm blind, let's not focus on it. But if they continue to ask questions, then I will answer their questions if I have the time and feel it's an appropriate thing. The second thing to remember is these people, most of the time, are trying to come from a good place. So it's better to educate people than get really mad and chew them out. Remember, as much as we don't like it, we represent a bigger group of people than just ourselves. We represent the VIP community. And so it's important that if you feel like this person is really being sympathetic and really trying to care, give them some education. Like, you know what? Yeah, sight loss isn't great, but hey, I live a great life. Maybe you're in a place like a bookstore, okay, or a library. And libraries are not fun for visually impaired people because there's all these books smacking you in the face reminding you can't read. It's really not all that fun. But maybe you go in there because you are looking for large print books. Maybe you want to use the computer. Maybe you have books on a CD or something like that. And so, you can use it. Or maybe you just want to sit down in a quiet area and not have people bother you. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're in there and somebody comes up to you and can I help you? It's like, yeah, can you help me find a seat? I'm just looking for a place to sit down and relax. And they're like, oh, and they see your cane and they're like, oh, yeah, sure, it's over here. And as you're walking, they're like, oh, are you blind? Like, yeah, I'm blind. Oh, I'm sorry. Why are you sorry? And so maybe it's an opportunity to share with that person the advantages that you have. Like, you know what? It's cool because now I get to feel everything with my hands, and I can see way better with my hands than you ever could with your eyes. Okay, maybe don't be all snarky like that, but the point is you get to share with them, something about yourself. The reality is you're going to get different responses, but the "I'm sorry" response usually comes from a place of either sympathy, empathy, or pity. The third thing I want to remind you too is that if you feel like it's super patronizing, like, oh, normally it's not going to be that, but if you feel like it, be like, you know what, it's fine. Just leave the establishment and don't deal with it. But at the end of the day, don't let this kind of thing bother you all that much. Most people, like I said, are trying to be empathetic and trying to show compassion. They just don't have the tools or language to show it. So do your best to educate and remind them that, hey, yeah, I am visually impaired, but my life is still pretty great. So my question for you, of course, is, have you experienced the I'm sorry in your life? What was it like? Where were you at? What did they say? How did you respond? I want to hear about it, and I know others would as well, so let me know in the comments below. Hey, if you like this video, if you found it helpful, well, make sure to give it a big thumbs up and share it out with somebody that you know. And if you, let me try that again. And make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss another single video. Thanks so much for watching wherever you are, and until next time, remember that sight loss isn't the end, it's just the beginning. My name is Derek Daniel from lifeaftersightloss.com, and I'll see you in the next one.